Good morning. My name is Dr. Mark Kavanagh, and welcome to fall of 2024 and to Society or Sociology and Technology. The name of this course has wavered through a number of different versions. It actually originates from a course I took called Technology and Society, but when I submitted it to create the course here at KVCC, I reversed the name, so I'm kind of getting used to doing that. Either way, welcome to the class. This course, the origins of this course were a conversation between myself and the faculty within the trades department. Many of the trades individuals are required to take a social science class. They take Intro to Psych or Intro to Sociology. And because of my interest in technology, I was talking to them about a course, at the time, a 200 level course, matching the relationship between technology and society. That evolved into the creation of this course as an alternative to the Introduction to Sociology class. So, to meet the requirements of your degree program, you can either take Intro to Psych, Intro to Soc, or Society and Technology. Essentially, this class is the Intro to Sociology class, but I examine the same issues and factors through the lens of technology. Even in the sociology class itself, technology is a major movement of social change, as you probably can already surmise. So, if you've never taken a social science class at KVCC, I designed them all, put them all together, so the format of the class is pretty standard through the entire thing. So if you've already taken one of these classes, some of this is going to be repetitive, but I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of show you the structure and expectations of the class and then go into an explanation of the expectations for this coming week. Now, I will venture, I failed this first week, but I will venture to get these videos out as early as possible on Monday, sometimes even the night before, depending on my gig schedule with my band. I usually travel on the weekends, getting back home, do the videos, etc. So, excuse me. To get these videos out, these videos will appear in the announcements section where you're watching this right now each Monday, and they are to review the expectations for the coming week. Please make sure that you avail yourself to these videos before you venture into the week. I may be announcing changes. I may be announcing new information, or like, oops, I made a mistake in the course book. We have to make sure that we fix that. So, first off, that's the purpose of the announcement section. I also use the announcement section to post when I've added things to the class, when I've graded something. That's probably the one you're going to be looking for the most. When I've graded something, I will post in there that the grades are ready for that particular assignment. And then as a way to communicate any changes in the class. So check that every day. Just make it part of, check your email, check whatever, then go into Brightspace and check all the announcements, see what's going on as you plan to complete this course. So let's take a look at Brightspace itself. Here we have the introduction into, there's two sections of this, OLA and OLB. They look exactly the same, operate the same. So here we have this section here, the announcements, and my little bleep about me. And I would point out that under assignments, you can certainly click on that, and you can go to pages that list the assignments, discussions, and quizzes. And you'll see a list of those assignments, discussions, and quizzes just there. This is not, in my opinion, the best way to access that material. Let's look at the things that are under the content section. So go to content, and up here, the overview and syllabus part, that link, it gives you a little bit about the class, navigating the course, and access to the all-important course book. Now, In many online courses, the material is actually posted within the learning management system. Ours is Brightspace, within there. What I've done is I've extracted all that information, all the lectures and videos and material that I want you to consume have been extracted from, they were never there. I created a digital book. Now I've made that digital book available in a few different formats. First, as you can see here, you can download a free PDF. So this is not a document that you need to pay for. You can, however, download an Apple Books version. The Apple Books version, you have to pay for it. It's $5.99, $6. Download it, and you can load that onto any Apple device, your phone, an iPad, or a Mac. And the neat thing about those is that when there's videos embedded in the book, you can actually play them Harry Potter like. You can just play the video right in the book. Otherwise, you link out to the YouTube site or whatever. And finally, you can see the link to Amazon. I sell these on Amazon, and I also sell them through our virtual campus bookstore. I think they're available there. Either way, in the PDF and Apple versions, all the links, you just touch on them and they go to wherever you're going to, either they play or they go to the link, active interaction with the actual book. In the print version, for all of the links, I've included what's called a QR code. It's a little square, it has little black lines on it. I'm sure you've seen them. Scan it with your device, use your camera on your phone, and it will bring you to that same resource. So even if you have the print version, it's still interactive by using your phone to access the external material. Below that section, what you're going to find is a copy of the syllabus. It's a good thing to print out. Basically, the contract between you and I about what this class is about and what I'm going to be expecting, and all of the different chapters and what that we're going to be covering. Then, once you've done that, let's head over to the course timeline. The course timeline is a fundamental, this is really going to be coming to the most. Go through all this material here, and then week to week, you can see what we're going to be doing. And it entails, right here, we're looking at chapter 1 is technology and society. There's a discussion and an assignment. Now, there's no instructions for these available in Brightspace because all the instructions for any discussions, quizzes, and assignments is in the course book. So you got to read the course book, go through the whole thing, and then you know what I'm looking for. We're going to take a look at chapter 1 in the course book in just a little bit. You will also notice here in week 2, there is a reference to some proposals here, that in this class, there is a choice that you have to make about one of the major special assignments, and that is, are you going to engage in a service learning project, which entails doing community service and writing a reflection paper on it, my personal favorite kind of project, or a research project where you're going to be gathering evidence about a research question using the literature in the field of sociology. Both are great topics. What you want to do is go into the course book, read up on those options, decide which one is the best for you and your time availability and whatnot. If you're thinking about the service learning, I encourage you to explore it deeply. Actually, it's not that hard to complete. If you have any questions about that, if you have any questions about anything in this, please reach out to me directly and we can have a conversation about the opportunities that are available. So let's take a look at the course book itself. So let me open it up here. So here's your course book. Starts off with the cover here, and then at the front of the course book is all kinds of front material here. On the digital versions, each one of these is a link. You can actually link right into the chapter itself. A little bit about how the course books work. Then there's how each assignment aligns with the learning outcomes associated with this program. A little bit of updates here to the course, and then chapter 1. Now, each one of the chapters in a course book, if you haven't encountered them before at KVCC, is organized using an instructional design model that I developed called ALATA. Now, the A stands for attention, LO, learning outcomes, T, teaching, and finally A again for assessments. So each chapter has a section: attention, learning outcomes, teaching, and assessments. And that's how the material is organized. So in this example of chapter 1, we see the attention section is about what is sociology, introducing this from that sociological perspective as we start to use technology for examples. And I have just some basic information there, just a hint. Not too much information in this particular attention section. Then we go into the learning outcomes. We're going to, in this particular chapter, the assessments are aligned to the fact that I'm going to ask you to discuss the impact of a technological change on personal culture and apply the perspectives to a component of current technology. Now, might not know what are the perspectives? Well, that's what the teaching is about. So we go to the teaching part and we start making our way through here. I introduce you to sociology and then dive right in to the perspectives, giving you details on the different ways, kind of general theories that sociologists had to examine the social world. All of them are simultaneously valid. Just like in psychology, there might be a lot of theories about the origin of mental illness, and because of the complexity of mental illness, they might all be right. They might all be imperfect. They might, that's the whole thing about social sciences. For you people who are rare, anybody in this class who prefers the black and white version of the world, this is not it. This is the gray version of the world. All the complexity of humanity, human experience in society does not lend itself to laws and rules that are obeyed all the time. So we are stuck usually looking at things from different perspectives. We make our way through all of these perspectives. We get to the end of that chapter, and we enter into a section called assessments. Now here's where you're going to see, for this particular chapter, there's a discussion and then there's an assignment. The discussion is asking you to consider a change in technology that has happened over the course of your life and how that has impacted your world. Now, there's tons of them. We can think about the wild technologies, and again, this is probably a good opportunity for you to understand my perspective of technology. When we think of technology, we often think of electronics. The phone, or cellular phones, and computers and whatnot. But technology, as a general term in sociology, is almost any tool that we created. The original pen was an amazing piece of technology that came out. Just the wheel, any invention, including the invention of ideas, like when we created democratic processes like majority voting, that was essentially a social technology that came along and was implemented, an idea that was implemented that had dramatic change on the world and many people. So I want you to think not necessarily of just, technology as we sort of like to talk about it around the Thanksgiving table when everybody's on their phone and we're telling them to get off their phone. Think about it in a wider way. I once was invited to write an introduction to a book, and it was on technology in the classroom. And when I wrote the introduction, I wrote about the transition from chalkboards to dry erase marker boards and that technological change. And it was actually forced upon me. I loved the chalkboard when I first started teaching. I liked it was not only reminiscent of my own early education, but I found it more engaging. The actual sound of the chalk. I actually wrote about the clicking of the chalk on the board and the kind of setting a tempo to the symphony that I was kind of. I went really kind of wild on this writing, and but anyway, I looked at that simple technology of moving from chalk to the marker board as a significant change in my life. It there was loss, but then there was also gain, and we can always see technological change as that combination of both loss and gain. ATMs are great, but we don't interact with people as much at the bank anymore unless we have a problem. So there's give and take in these things. And so in the discussion, I'm asking you to pick a technology that has changed in your lifespan and describe and share and comment with other people about their experience as well. Now, when you are taking an online class with me and you have a discussion, the expectations are that you are going to respond with your own post to the prompt that I give you. In this case, what I've written in the course book. You are then, to gain the most you can out of a discussion, just like you're in the class, you're going to listen or read other people's responses, and the expectation is you're going to respond to at least two of them. Now, in the response, it's not enough to simply say, I agree, or that's a cool perspective. Add something substantive to the discussion. Ask a question. Challenge them. So, why do you see things that way? I want everybody to be able to do that without feeling offended, because I'm telling you to do it. So you're not attacking, you're doing things very kindly if you're going to be questioning somebody's thoughts on something, but a little challenge here and there is perfectly fine. That's what learning is all about. That will emphasize the best parts of having an online discussion, creating a learning community, creating a sense of connectedness with each one of you, even though we're all sitting in front of our screens. We then look at those perspectives. I'm having you do an assignment, possibly on that same technology, but it doesn't have to be, but on that same technology that you have in the discussion board. What I have you look at in this particular assignment for Chapter 1 are the major perspectives that are identified within the field of sociology. Now, the perspectives are functional, conflict, symbolic interactionist, postmodern, and rational exchanges. 5 perspectives. Now, I'll give you a really brief overview. This goes into detail, but I'm going to give you the quick and dirty on how to think of these. The functional perspective is you're looking at that technology and its function, surprise, in your life. What does it do? What does it make easier? How does it make something easier to do? What is its function? Then we look at conflict. Now, conflict in the world of sociology spends a lot of time talking about inequality. Those who have the technology, in this case, versus those who don't have the technology. And how does that advantage them? Now, the question within sociology is not lost my train of thought there right here in the middle of it. The conflict perspective doesn't say that individuals should all be the same. That is not, there are valid reasons for inequality. If you watch the Olympics, it's a incredibly valid exercise of inequality. Sometimes, like in that running race that was all really close, the difference between a gold medal and no medal was 1/10 of a second. So inequality exists, and that's valid and fine. That day, one person won the gold and other people didn't. The same applies to this. What we want to know in sociology is it fair? Is it equitable? Is there a particular group that usually gets the goods and a particular group that usually doesn't get the goods? But either way, from the sense of this assignment, you're going to look at how does this technology create inequality? That's how you get around the conflict one. The symbolic interactionist one is kind of a complicated one, but it can be simplified by this. What does it mean to you? What is its meaning to you? Look, I tell you, if you look at, let's say, an elderly person living alone, isolated, their iPad and their connection to the outside world through FaceTime might be incredibly meaningful for them. So that device, that technology, has opened up a door that has allowed them to be less isolated. A very personal perspective. So for the symbolic interactionist one, you're going to be talking about what does the technology mean to you. The postmodern perspective is all about economics and communication. Think of that. That's the silos that you want to think. Postmodern, how has this affected the way people communicate with each other? And what does factors in economics like marketing, price, branding, and whatnot, like a cell phone's a cell phone, right? Why do the Apple ones cost so much? It's branding. The same reason why Nike sneakers cost more than non-Nike sneakers. It's branding, and that plays a role in terms of your selection of technology. And finally, in exchange theory is the give and take. Okay? In this sense, there's a financial, I'm sticking on phones here. There's a financial give and take. I'm willing to pay a certain amount for advantages that are provided for me. And that's sort of a contract between me and the device maker. It also allows us to exchange with others. So depending on the type of technology there is, you kind of have to think deeply about, well, how does this enable for a give and take in relationships with other people? For some technologies, you got to think deeply about that, but it's there. It's there. Take a stab at it. So in this particular assignment, I'm having you write this up, title page, tell me about the topic, and then list explaining that technology from all 5 perspectives. They're all active and valid at the same time. Sometimes we want to look at things through a functional perspective. Sometimes we want to look at things through a conflict perspective, and so on. Throughout the course, you will see, maybe not explicitly, I don't often take those words and then lay them on the content again, but you will see through the course that there are times to do that. Let's look at this thing through different lenses in order to get the most full picture of what we're dealing with. Okay, so that is the summary of what you're expected to do this week. If there's any questions, there is a discussion board that's described in the timeline where you can post questions. You can also send questions to me. So along with week 1, I want you to start reading the other part, the special assignments. There's also another special assignment called Tangle, which is a website political newsletter that I'm going to be integrating into this class, and there's a few discussions that are going to center around that. You can start looking at these things. All of these things are explained in the course book, and it helps you understand and navigate the different elements within Brightspace itself. So with that is this week. I look forward to interacting with all of you through this very exciting exploration of the relationship between technology and culture and society. Have a great week.